Alright, this is going to be the second part of my previous video upload tutorial about ASP.NET, how to upload files using ASP.NET MVC using jQuery mainly in ASP.NET and ASP.NET applications. In last video I mainly explained about how the server side, mainly the JavaScript part, JavaScript and HTML works. And this is going to be the second part. In here I will be mainly explaining about how the server side works. So to be able to my goal is to following in the server side. Basically I will be saving the uploaded file information into backend database. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and create a little link to SQL. I have a, let me show you. It's a design. So here is the idea that I need to know. Here is the file name, varchar, file extension, and the MIME type. And this file contain is most important one. That's where I will be storing the binary data, which is data type image and SQL Server. And this field is when it to know when it was created. Okay, so that is that. And of course, to upload in the server side, I'm using the generic handler, generic ASP.NET generic handler. And as you know, that guy implements interface ISTTP handler. So for my handler, I'm saying, okay, go ahead and implement this interface. When you implement this interface, basically we are dealing with one property called is reusable, and the most importantly the method called a process request. This is really nice extension method that's provided by ASP.NET, because this object HTTP context contains huge amount of information like the server, it has a request. It exposes most of the thing that we need dealing with ASP.NET, like request to response object. So this is really powerful. So okay, that's what I captured to implement that one. So basically let me make this a little bigger so that I can explain to you better. So first I implemented, basically when you upload the data files, I basically store the file into a directory called save to directory. And once that thing worked, and my next step was to save that information into backend database. So in this video I'm going to explain to you how to save those file information into backend database. Okay, let's go into inside the method. So here this code is just saying, okay, give me the any request coming out from server related to this particular path. So once this is like key value here, this is my key which will be holding the actual path to upload to the server. And then once it comes out, I'm going to assign to this local variables, and in this if statement I'm saying, alright, if there is a file coming in, awesome. If the file is coming in from the client, I have to create a new instance of file info object and pass the file a path as a constructor argument. Okay, and then after, because my goal here is to grab that file and get the raw content and put that raw content into this buffer right here. And to do that, I have a little try and catch block, and inside that I have a method, private method called saturate buffer. Okay, let's go ahead and read that one. This method is very simple. So basically, because this guy is already saturated file info object, from the file info I'm going to say, hey, try to read the data. And when you call this method, this guy returns you a memory stream, not the memory stream, file stream, which is I'm going to assign to local variables. And this buffer is it's not really initialized yet. So I'm going to say create the size of this buffer can be the same as the size of the stream length. And then this very nice method, it has read method. I'm saying to this stream, hey, read entire data into this buffer right here, starting from offset 0 going all the way to the end of it. And if everything good, this method return the buffer, which is now saturated. Basically it contains now binary data, contains the data. My buffer is my buffer is now is filled. Okay, so I just come out from this loop, not sorry, not loop, this if statement construct, and then here because if everything is good, I come in here, my buffer is saturated, everything is good, and then once I come in here inside this if statement, I need to populate, like, you know, file name, file extension, and all the MIME type. To do that, I call another static private method called setProperty. This method is doing nothing, basically setting the actual value that it needs. For example, name of the file name, what is the extension of the file. And to find the MIME type, I have a little helper method that will take the extension of the file and return me the MIME type. And I need to know where this file was created, and that's why I have this little variable store that data. Okay. After that, you know, once all these are populated, I'm ready to save this information into backend database. As I explained to you before, I'm using link to SQL. Here I have all the data that I need. I have the actual content of the file, buffer data. I have file name and file extension and whatever the MIME type, right? And then I'm going to say to the link, this is my link class, right? I'm going to create instance of this one, and then I'm going to call this method. This is my table's name generated by the link to SQL, which basically maps into my table called uploader in the backend in the SQL server. And then I'm going to call this insert and submit method, and if you look at the mouse over, it will take uploader entity. So that's why I need to provide this I'm going to go ahead and create instance of uploader and set its property, like when was it created, the file content, you know, extension of the file name, and MIME type. Once that is all set, I'm about to call the submit changes. All right. Once that submit changes is done, so basically our record is inserted into the backend database. So that's all it is from the backend. It's not that code is really straightforward. Nothing is there. Looks like I have a little bit of time left, so I can also go ahead and show you how to basically save this information instead of, you know, storing the data in the database as a raw binary. We can store the file also. If you want to do that one, then I have a separate method called save to directory. Basically the same context comes inside that method. The idea is same. Basically I'm going to create instance of file info, right? And only different right here is that I need to tell this request, hey, I have a upload directory location. Go ahead and try to find this in the server. And once it finds this location, I'm going to create, every time somebody uploads a file, I'm going to give a unique name. That's to unique name in terms of, like, let's say a date, a year, a month, or whatever, when was it loaded. Based on that, it's going to create a unique directory, so that's where it will be saved. And finally, this one is saying, okay, hey, do you have a directory? If the directory doesn't exist, go ahead and create this one and create the absolute file location. That's where we'll be saving the file coming in from the client. So and finally, I'm going to call this method called copy2. So what this copy2 method does, which is inside the class file info, it is one of the instance method, right? It has to do one overload, which is like the copy2, and then the second parameter true means, like, if there is an existing file with the same name and same data type, go ahead and override it. That's what the true is doing. And eventually, and then finally, what I have to do is, like, if everything is good, then I have to return this to the caller. Hey, everything is good. We have saved your file and information like that. Anyway, this is how it's very simple. And server side is even a lot simpler than the client side, because client side, you know, involve JavaScript, jQuery, library, and some HTML based and some CSS, right? But this one is strictly C#. Nothing is there. Just using file IO namespace and stuff like that. Anyway, this is one of the way that you can, you know, use file info object by using HTTP generic ASP.NET generic handler. I hope this tutorial has been really helpful to you guys. So basically, let me see if I run this guy. So, you know, my application basically the same. So if I try to